Do you ever feel like you're an imposter?
You're listening to
Jom Sembang, Malaysia.
very, very big words, huh?
Imposter, do you know what I mean? Okay, let me give you an example. I give vocal coaching lessons.
Okay.
And sometimes I feel really good right after a coaching session because I feel like, wow, I've helped somebody to overcome something or gather a new insight into something or achieve something that they couldn't do before. And you see the thing in their eyes.
Their light bulb.
Their light bulb moment. And then I go home and then I'm like, hey, let's check out that song, because the person's an artist, let's say. And I go check it out. And then wow, their listenership, 10 times more than mine. Or wow, they're following, way more than mine, right? And then suddenly I think, right, am I an imposter? It's like, I feel like imposter syndrome, this person is doing so much more, a lot more, is doing a lot better as an artist. And then why am I coaching them? Things like that. Or I might be in a group of academics, and then when they talk about singing, they talk about tilted larynx.
I tell you, academics cannot. Sorry, when a self-taught person, or rather a person who maybe have studied the basic in education, academic, and then they are more actively involved in the industry, more practically involved compared to an academician. But if you sit at the same stage to share, right?
Yeah.
Everything that you share will feel shallow in comparison to them.
Right?
Because when you talk, right, you don't have the big keywords to support you.
Larynx.
You don't have for example, I can explain something in layman. People can laugh. I can engage. People can laugh. People say, oh, I get that. I understand it. I can apply it. I've learned it, whatever not. But when they say the same topic, right, they say the same statement, it's backed by 5 different other reference footnote.
Yes.
And suddenly you go like that you talk lah, why you hire me,
Yeah.
You get what I mean?
Something like this.
I last time used to feel that a lot because I'm always put on a stage with someone who has studied literature for the longest time. Okay, who can quote which is the Sastra Negara, National Laureate, said this, and this. And I just cannot, right? So sometimes I don't want to be in the same stage because I feel like no matter what I thought, right, I'm always one step lower than you lah. Okay, but what encouraged me is when people come up after that. I said, I don't know what the fuck talking about, but I understand you.
Okay.
Because the person went so detailed, technical, and blah, 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 but I understand you.
Okay.
And for me, then I feel like, okay lah, I'm not imposter syndrome, you say.
No, don't get me wrong. I appreciate these people because the people that I hang out with, I recently hung out with, they're very down to earth, super funny. We have a good time having meal and everything and talking. And I actually do enjoy listening to them talk, share their knowledge. I'm particularly talking about this stunted, what did I just say? I can't remember. Because it makes sense and I felt like I need to go back and research what this thing is about. And I do have a sense that if I look it up, I would know what it means.
Okay.
It's just that I don't use that terminology. But it feels like, wow, they have all the ways to articulate.
But that comes from experience.
It comes from learning.
Experience and knowledge.
But also, okay, so what I would say I teach, or whatever I know, comes from experience and the knowledge that comes from that experience. So I call them academics, not because they are not practitioners. They are also practitioners. They also sing, they also perform, but they have gone through the academic exercise of knowing this school of thought, that school of thought, this method, that method. I have my method lah.
Okay.
Nobody has written a book on my method yet lah. Maybe there might be the Juwita's methodology of singing next time. I don't know. Maybe after I die. And I appreciate that. But sometimes I just feel like, maybe I should go and learn. But I think that's a good thing as well because now I want to go and find out what's that tilted thing or slanted. Was it tilted or slanted? You see, I can't even tell the difference. But the thing I realize now is I think because I'm a bit more secure in who I am and what I do, what I know and what I don't know, which is fine, that I'm quite happy to put up my hand and go, silly question noob question what does Alexander mean? Or what is Kodali? What does that mean, right? And then when they start to explain, I'm like, oh yes, I've heard of that before. I never knew it was called that. But I learn lah, one shot lah. And I think I come to a point where what you want to think of me doesn't really matter anymore. I don't think people will look down at me just because I asked a silly question. But if they do, then never mind also lah. But you know what I mean? But yeah.
I kind of understand it is because both of us have very similar background when it comes to that kind of era. For example, like my books are studied by university students. And then they will sit down and have a serious forum about it, right?
Okay.
And then they have a discussion about Gina used plot technique 1, 2, 3. And then in her characters, there's technique 2, 3, 4. And then flip to 4, 5, 6. Or like whatever technique name, right? And then I'll be like, just read the story lah. You know, it's not like I don't appreciate learning. I kind of respect people who can study.
Yeah.
Okay. But I always tell the writers that I come across, you must understand your personality. Okay? Some people, they study, they can implement.
Yes.
Very well. Good. Some people, after they study, they cannot implement because it's overwhelming. I want to write one sentence. Then before you write the sentence, you're like, is it technique A plus feedback 2 plus flashback 3? And then they don't write.
Yes.
Because they get frozen. I can also imagine it could be the same with singing.
Yeah.
Because art is so subjective, right? It could go any way, right?
Yeah.
So I can imagine like if I go there and Juwita taught me 5 ways to 5 vocals ways and 5 ways to harmonize, right? And then here I'm going, okay, let's sing now. Wait, should I choose way 1 or should I choose way 2? Yeah. And then you start to go, which one is better, which one? But actually there's no which one is better, which one. It's just different approach, different results.
Yeah, so in a sense, right, sometimes that helps me in my self-judging also because, for example, there was this lady who came for a masterclass. She got a lot more training than me lah, because she's taken classes in musical style of singing, classical style of singing, right? And then she's singing and I'm like, something's not clicking here, right? And she also knows, I feel like my voice cannot come out, you know? I tried this, cannot. Then I tried classical, then cannot. So I said, okay, the good thing about you is you have the knowledge of how, but I think you're thinking too hard.
Yeah, you try to implement 5 techniques into one and then after that, the entire thing just doesn't come out.
And so I had to, what I did was, I drew her out of that. I'm like, okay, let's just think about the song, Ken. Let's think about the song. What does the lyrics say? Okay, now can you just forget about what kind of technique you are using? It's useful, but for now, just sing me the lyrics, right? And oh my gosh, she sang it and it's like, and she also looked at me like, my voice can come out, huh? I'm like, yeah, huh?
So I actually begin to think, right? The first step to anyone really want to master something, knowledge is important.
Yes.
But trying without having the knowledge paralyzing you is very important.
Yes.
I always tell people, right? Don't think about this sentence has how many techniques.
Yes.
Write it and then ask yourself, what technique did I use?
Yes.
Don't ask yourself, what technique should I use?
Yeah.
And then write.
Right.
Same thing with singing, right? If what technique should I use to sing this? And you keep imagining 101 possibility.
Yeah.
You don't even know how it sounds like because you haven't even sound it out.
True.
That I was normally said, just sing first and then later look at it. Oh, I can use technique A. I mean, based on what you already have as a base.
Yeah.
You. No techniques, I think just you.
Unless you're
right?
having an issue with this.
Correct.
Like you're stuck. And then you're like, okay, what can I use to help me to unstuck myself?
Something like that.
Right? So
I think today's episode should just be called Does Academic Studying Paralyze Us? Because it's totally going not exactly what I envisioned it to be.
All right.
So maybe after a break, you can come back and share more examples of this because I think this is a very interesting topic.
Okay. This episode is brought to you by Joy Luck Penang. By now you already know it's a pet-friendly place, but what I really like about it is it's surrounded by greens and you've got different places where you can hang out in this house and got instruments you can jam with.
Clearly, we only take sponsors that we endorse. Okay, so in what other ways do you feel that you have the imposter syndrome?
Well, that's predominantly it, right?
I mean, other aspect of
life?
That's not just singing lah. So for me, right, because it has a lot to do with writing, I'm surrounded by people who go and study, pay money, study creative writing, and then go for workshops, go for so many workshops that at the end of the day, and then they come back, and then Gina write 5 books already while they go workshop, then they write 1 book, you know?
Yeah.
Not to show off.
Yeah.
I'm just saying that I come across a lot of people that go through that. But another aspect of my life, for example, that is not writing is social media. right?
Okay.
Because I mentioned in the previous episode that I started blogging when bloggers started.
Yeah.
And I started Facebook before there was even analytics.
Yeah.
Okay. Then I started Twitter when no one is there lah. None of my peers is there lah, you know. And Instagram. So a lot of people saw me as the social media person. I really feel that that's not the title that I find suitable.
Okay.
Because I know people who are 100 times more powerful, more knowledgeable, more happening in social media than me.
Okay.
But funny thing is, that's what my client hired me for. Social media marketing. I really don't think I'm giving it like a fraction, 10%, and they're happy about it. And I always feel that, hey, you hire the wrong person. I always feel that they hire the wrong person.
Okay.
But they always make me feel otherwise.
Okay. Tell me in how that otherwise thing. What's the other part of what you weren't telling us just now?
So for example, like I will advise them on what time to post on their social media. And they were like, whoa, only a social media guru can tell me what time to post that is optimum. And I'm like, you just Google search it lah. or after you Google search or you go and look at analytics, your analytics will give suggestion. And then after your suggestion, right, you use your logic lah. If it tells you post at 7, then you look at 7 p.m, people eating time, people scrolling, it makes sense, right?
I guess. Not for me, but yeah, okay.
Okay, so I go to my client, right? And my client said, what time you go to post? I said, I study your Facebook page. I did. I go to your analytics. It stated there, 7 o'clock, right?
Yeah.
So I said, 7 o'clock. Then she said, why? Then I said, 7 o'clock because people eating and scroll. Wow, Gina, you brilliant, huh? Social media guru, huh?
Okay, but
then I feel like, hey, don't know. You're silly or what? I'm like, I'm not.
So those people who you said are more, 10 times more, whatever, knowledgeable in social media and all that, would they not do the same thing?
They would have done the same thing, but they would have done it 10 times more precise. They would actually pay money to a plugin and don't know what.
Yes.
Theirs is more like, 100% proven. Mine is based on the facts, 70%.
Okay.
I won't go there confidently. Hey, you post 7 p.m, sure got people watch. Right? But they can do that because they actually do a plugin, they do a research, they do a statistic, they do a whole bunch of homework, and they come up with that.
And they are backed with all that money that has been put
into them, right? I'm the fake one lah, probably.
Okay.
But my clients think this is sufficient.
Yeah, fair enough.
This is guru. So I always go back and I feel like, why they hire me for this position? Because I'm not good enough at it. Like, what are you talking about? Just post lah. So sometimes I come up with ideas that's actually more fun than strategic, you know?
Yeah.
Like I will come up with, let's do a series of 4 posters. Then when you slide, the image are connected just because it's cool, you know?
Yeah.
Then the client say, wow, so brilliant. Then I'm like, it's not strategic. I mean, to me, it wasn't. I was just exploring a fun concept, right?
Yeah.
But they were like, it's strategy, you know? Then people swipe very nice, you know? And they are giving my approach justification. And saying that I'm the expert, I don't understand it.
Okay, there is something in there because it comes so naturally to you. For example, when you are in your blogging thing, you had this alphabet thing, like your A, and then you draw the pattern, nice, right? To you, it's just doodling. And I suppose maybe a painting or an artist, you know, might say, okay, that's basic.
Horrible,
but to
don't
me,
do this.
You might say it's horrible. To me, it's like, wow. Because it comes so naturally to you that you don't feel there's anything special in it. But like I always think your strategic mind or the way you can look at a place and see it from the top view, it comes naturally to you, right? But it doesn't come naturally to others. And even more like me, I say I'm spatially impaired, right? I look at a place and I can still get lost one, right? You know, so in relation to that, what your strength is, doesn't feel like a strength lah. Then you see, got a professional like me lah. When I see the academic the properly trained.
Correct, because they have like 5 proven steps to reach here or whatever, not, right?
Like you can use 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Correct. For example, when I tell my clients keywords, important keywords. I'm doing just level 1 research keywords.
Okay.
I hire a SEO company and they generate a report that is 10 times deeper.
Okay, but then again...
But I won't know how to do the 10 times deeper. I just know how to do the level 1 keywords.
Okay. Do you feel that sometimes having too much info, like you said, is paralyzing? If you just tell me what I need to know like now, post at this time, let's do this, maybe not 100% backed by data, but some common sense, some analytics, some free knowledge.
For
Put
me,
that all together.
That is sufficient, but I still feel like I'm an imposter when I'm next to the experts.
Okay, it's going to sound bad, right? But do you think the experts purposely do that?
I mean, I admire them the way they do
Yeah.
the work and everything, but it's just something that I wouldn't do, or I don't have the interest to do, or like I don't have the time and energy to spend because it's not my strength.
Because, for example, in a business, right, they hire consultants, and consultants charge
Crazy,
big bucks,
correct.
right? So you have a consultant coming from the big five or the big three, and you're paying them, right? And they're giving you solutions or strategy. But if you talk, okay, pardon me if you're, one of those companies, but if you talk to somebody who is a consultant, sometimes they tell you, actually, my job really con lor. I just tell only. I don't have to implement it. And that, actually the implementing is the hardest part. I just come and tell people what to do only. So even they know that they're giving their
actually
2 cents
the
worth.
implementing is hard because sometimes I play the consultant role, sometimes I play the executing role. Okay, so the consulting part is, like I said, I will just advise 7 p.m, whatever.
Mhm.
You post or don't post is your business. Right?
Correct. But the doing is the hard thing, right? Making the thing and sticking to the plan is the hardest. So that's number one, right? The consultant is giving you things that how to do it, but who's going to do it and how are you going to do it? The actual doing it is really not their thing. So they can hands off. The second thing is the articulation of it, right? Saying something in a way that sounds really grand and using all the right words. And even as I'm speaking now, you can hear how I'm speaking. The tone is changed. It's the proper grammar and it sounds so much more intelligent as compared to when I'm just telling you like it is now, which sometimes I think actually might be the same thing.
Maybe.
But sounds not quite as polished and deep and learned. But the thing is, they say you actually go to university to learn how to speak like that lah.
Okay, I don't know. I never went to university.
Neither did I.
But I do think like in order to counter this whole self-imposting thing lah.
Impostering? How to say?
Impostering. I don't know.
Never mind, yeah.
I mean, this imposter syndrome lah.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, if the people who I interact with benefit from it and they don't feel like I'm conning them,
Yeah.
then I told myself it's okay.
Yeah.
Because I'm not out to con them.
Yeah.
It's not my fault that they didn't find the guru. They find this one and think that this one is a guru.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's not my fault. So I told my fault, like, I didn't position myself as the marketing guru.
Yeah.
But if you think for your level, I'm your marketing guru one,
Yeah.
by all means, I will just take it lah.
That's true.
Because I cannot sit there and then they think that you are some marketing guru.
Yes.
And then you start to doubt yourself.
Correct.
And then everything goes down the hill, right?
That is true.
So I always tell them, okay, these are my observation.
Yeah.
This is my recommendation.
Mm-hmm.
Take it or leave it. It's nothing to do with me. Then I will feel slightly better. So I won't go in like I know what I'm doing, exactly what I'm doing. This is the 5 steps. I don't.
Yeah.
I just say that, okay, normally I would do this based on observation. This logistically rational is this.
Yeah.
Then agree, not agree, jalan.
Yeah.
That's it. There's no enforcement that you must take this blueprint because I'm the expert.
Yeah, I'm not saying it's 100%. If you do this, you will succeed.
Correct.
I think, So for me also, I think the marketing, the setting of expectations for me is very important. So when I take on a new student, right, I usually tell them, look, I'm not a technical person. My gift, I would say my gift or what I enjoy doing is journeying with you and helping you to put things together to overcome the challenges, to help you to get over to the next level. That is basically what I enjoy doing. And you know what? Sometimes these people have, and I've had just this other one.
More technical study than you.
Yeah, they've actually searched up other ways, other methods, other more academic styles. And the fact that after that they still come to me, and the fact that I think if I can just help them maybe match what they've learned to that practicality of how they can execute and just help to unlock a bit more of that, then maybe that is what I bring to the table. Not maybe, actually I know that is what I bring to the table. Then I don't have to feel, what's the word? Inferior.
In a way.
To the next person. But I guess that wouldn't stop me from going deeper to learn. I might not have the time right now to go back to university and learn all that things. And I think sometimes it might actually impede my who I am because I might start to talk too technical. But I would like to go and learn. a little bit more. Like when I hear this concept, I go and study it a bit more. So that, when people use those terms, I know what it is. And then I can help to make sense of it lah. Like that lor. But I think, right, sometimes at any point, you will still feel at certain points, like, oh, okay, am I like... And I think it's not a necessarily bad thing.
I think it's easier to say when you specialize in it. Like you specialize in vocal coaching. I can say the same thing when people come to me about writing. You need a writing coach. I'm not certified, but I can do the job. Okay? But marketing is social marketing. Just don't lah. I'm slightly above average than other people, but don't put that label. That's one thing that I could never pass by. Then I start to undercharge myself and everything.
Then because pointless for you also, right?
Yeah, pointless. It doesn't work for both parties, I feel.
Okay.
Yeah. But then, I still have clients. So, sorry if my clients are listening to it. Thank you for trusting me. But it's like there are certain things that you are specialized in, and you know that if you didn't learn it through the academic way, you have more than 2 decades experience in the experience practical way. I think that is less imposter syndrome when you have to be the coach or whatever lah. Okay, but when it comes to something that you didn't spend enough hours, you are not passionate about it. Okay lah, I like the idea of marketing because I like to tell a story, but I'm not into the strategies, and even though it comes slightly natural to me. So if you put a label for me at the marketing scene, I will say no.
Yes.
No, it's like, for example, they come to you and tell you, hey, you're a music producer. I tell you sit down there, what do you feel? If I say you're a vocalist, like, man, I'm a vocal coach. Yeah. Music producer. Let me think 3 times.
Yes. Correct.
Same feeling lah.
Correct.
Some things that, So I'm trying to avoid.
Not to say that we don't do it.
We do it, but I don't call myself the best thing ever.
That is not the title on my cap lah.
Correct. So I'm trying to move away from that marketing thing. But I can't help it because everyone I meet have zero marketing thing. I only know like level 1, but it's more than that. So suddenly I'm the guru. So I'm trying to move away from it, but I find it very hard.
But I suppose in that sense, you are still helping that midway growth lah.
Correct.
So it's the same thing lah.
Because if they meet the level 10 one, they'll be like, bling, fainted, don't do marketing anymore.
So like when I do music production also, it's like, helping the midway to come up. And then, okay lah, maybe after that I pass on to the...
They say, bye, you can
the
go
real
to the
gurus,
So, actually we started off this episode with some other topics, but I don't know how we got to this, so we shall just stick to this. Yes.
Jom Sembang Malaysia is hosted by 2 Malaysians who are passionate about Malaysian stuff. Stay tuned every week for a brand new Sembang session with Juwita Suwito and Gina Yoong. Today's episode is recorded at Studio 2105. Remember to click like and subscribe for a brand new episode next week.